Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. We just want to give everyone just a few minutes here to just join us, and we'll get started very shortly. While we're waiting for people to join, if you want to send a message in the chat box to our team of where you're joining us from. We always like to see where you're joining from and learn a little bit about you. All righty, it looks like some people are still joining, but we are going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you so much. We have some people from California and Nebraska and British Columbia, so we have some people quite a range, so it's nice. So thank you so much for joining us on our Tour of Courses webinar with CodeMonkey. Oops. Okay. So first, we like to just thank you so much for joining us. We know that your time is very valuable, especially during this time and everything that you guys are experiencing. So thank you again for joining us. If you would like to follow us at CodeMonkey STU, both on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or also follow along with our blog, that'll keep you up to date with some of the things that we're doing here. Always like to start off the webinar introducing our team and ourselves so you can learn a little bit more about us. My name is Lena Saleh. I'm the Sales and PD Manager. You can also tweet at me on Twitter at lena@codemonkey.com, or sorry, at Lena CodeMonkey, or you can also send me an email following the webinar today if you want to learn a little bit more or have any questions. Just a little bit of background knowledge about me. I'm a former educator. I taught in the classroom for about 10 years. I worked with computer science teachers and helped kind of create a technology curriculum for K-12. So if you have any questions kind of on that piece of things, I'm also happy to answer any of those questions. And I'm not alone. I have a couple of other friends joining us today.
Hey, I'm Jay Bloodworth. I'm the curriculum developer at CodeMonkey. I've been with the company for about 6 months, and before that, I was a teacher for 20 years. So I write lots of lesson plans you can read for our courses, and I'm kind of generally in the background behind the scenes, but I like to step into these webinars sometimes to help out.
Boaz, would you like to introduce yourself? All right, Boaz.
Sorry, can you hear me though now?
Yeah,
sorry.
we can hear you now.
Sorry,
You're good.
apologies. Okay, my name is Boaz Zions. I'm the Chief Operating Officer in CodeMonkey. I'm more in charge of more of the business side of the company, but I'm always very enthusiastic to hear what it is we're doing in more the educational side and get in touch with actually teachers and students and understand exactly what our team is doing. So I'm here also to help and support and answer questions. And well, Lena, the floor is yours.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with our teachers. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started in the interest of your time. And we always like to start off with talking about what is CodeMonkey and a little bit of our story. So CodeMonkey is a gamified online coding course designed for students. Now we span K-8. We are standards aligned and we are made with both students and teachers in mind. And there is no prior experience needed to begin teaching with our CodeMonkey courses. Just a little bit of background knowledge, our founders of the company are computer scientists and programmers, and they used to work with students and kind of realized that students didn't really enjoy the way that we teach computer science at our higher level. So that's how CodeMonkey was born. So we hope that you enjoy today's tour of courses. All right, so today we are going to tour the courses. We're going to showcase a few of the challenges from each of the courses. We'll also work through the teacher resources and kind of explore that. And then based on the last webinar that we did earlier today, we're going to go a little bit over the progress and kind of how that will help guide you in your teaching, both for remote learning and the kind of things that you're doing for today. Please feel free to ask any questions in our chat box and also answer any questions in our Q&A for today. Our team is here obviously to help answer those questions, and then we'll save some of those for the end as well. So feel free to ask away if you have anything pops up or questions about anything. That's what we're here for. So the tour de courses. So our courses now span K through 8. We start with CodeMonkey Jr, which is our kindergarten pre-reader app. It is block-based. Then we move into our next block-based course, which is Beaver Achiever, and that's for, we'll kind of get into what the grades are that are associated with that. And then we start with our Coding Adventure text-based course right around 3rd grade. That matches with our Dodo Does Math and Game Builder, and Coding Adventure, Dodo Does Math, and Game Builder are all in CoffeeScript, and Banana Tales is when we start our Python. So that's kind of just a little bit about the courses, and now we're going to deep dive into the courses and kind of what they look like. So we'll start off with our CodeMonkey Jr app. This is available app. It is now web-based as well. It is for our pre-KK, so really pre-readers. It is made up of 30 challenges, which are divided into 4 chapters. There are 10 35-minute lesson plans that will take about 3 months to complete if only taught once a week. And the programming language on this are blocks, and they're actually arrows that they're kind of working with. And then the concepts that the students will be working through are logic, loops, sequencing, algorithms, counting, and direction. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what that actually looks like in action. So here on the teacher dashboard, I just logged in. If you haven't logged in or you are revisiting CodeMonkey again, we just recently changed our teacher dashboard. So I'm going to click on the courses, and then I am going to scroll down to CodeMonkey Jr. And CodeMonkey Jr is in our block coding section. So I'll click on CodeMonkey Jr. All of our courses in coding in CodeMonkey are all fully gamified. Students have to move through in a linear manner. And I've tried to turn down the sound, so if it's too loud, just let me know in the chat box and I'll make sure to turn it down. I am going to turn off sound for the courses, but obviously the students are free to use it however they would like. So as the students work through all of our courses, they move through in a linear manner. They can't skip around from one challenge to the next. In this course, there are those 4 chapters: sequencing, advanced sequencing, loops, and advanced loops. So let's go ahead and get into one of the challenges. And everything has a star scoring system in place. So we'll talk about what that looks like. So let's just go to challenge number 6. We'll see here that each of these tiles are 1, and so that's the counting piece for the students, and then these arrows kind of move the monkey where we want to go. So here in these challenges, we want our monkey to get both the banana and the treasure box. And so to do that, we can see that we would go over 1 to get the banana, and then we would jump up and we would move over 2 to get to the treasure box. And when we want the monkey to move, we're going to hit the triangle, which is the play, and the monkey will get where we want him to go. And what happens is it yields a solution for us. Now you can see here, I only got a 2-star solution because there was an extra line or an extra code that wasn't needed, an extra symbol here that wasn't needed here. But that's kind of how the solutions work. So a 3-star is the shortest, most concise code. A 2-star is an extra. And a 1-star, I'd like to say, is the struggle bus. And what I mean by the struggle bus is that the students have been able to complete the challenge, but probably didn't understand the concept that was presented. So that's the CodeMonkey Jr course, and it does get more advanced as it progresses through, as with all of our courses. So now that we have previewed the CodeMonkey Jr, now let's talk about Beaver Achiever. So Beaver Achiever is our block-based course as well. This is for grades 1 through 3, and the Beaver Achiever is made up of 55 challenges, which are divided into 3 courses. There are 11 35-minute lesson plans that will take around 3 months to complete if only taught once per week. The programming language is Blockly, so there are blocks. And the coding concepts that are covered here are sequencing, loops, and repeat loops, and that's in the first course. And in the second course, we get into conditionals and until loops, and then we get into if and else conditions. So let's take a look at what that looks like as well. So I'll go back to my courses page and I'll scroll down to that same block section. And Elaine, I'll answer your question towards the end of the webinar here. So here are the Beaver Achiever courses. We have our sequencing, advanced sequencing, loops where they're helping the beaver build his house, and the if and else conditional. So I'll show you one from the very beginning, and then I'll show you my favorite, which is the smoothie making in the course number 3. So all of our courses always start out with a storyline, except for the game builder course and the coding chatbots, but those are run a little bit differently. So I'll show you what those look like. But here the story is that the beaver basically wants to go swimming. There's no water, so he has to build a dam. So we can see here that there is counting that's going in place. The arrow here is where we're running it. We see we have our script and the stage running over here on the right, and we are dragging and dropping. And so when we do so, the beaver will fill the dam, and there will be a fun animation that is associated with it as we progress through. And we are yielded with our solution. Same solution as we've seen in our other courses, and the students will move linearly through the map. As we get into the coding adventure, we'll see how this will change just a little bit and how it works through. But as far as CodeMonkey Jr and Beaver Achiever, each course is its own coding map. Now let's take a look at my favorite course, is the smoothies. So when we get into the if and else conditionals here, the goal of this course is that the monkey basically wants to make smoothies for his friends, and that's kind of how it goes. So we see that there's going to be one person approaching here. We see that it is going to be a monkey with a banana. So when we drag out the banana, we can blend and serve, and our monkey will arrive, the smoothie will be made, and then we'll be yielded with our solution here. And by the time we get to the end of the CodeMonkey, to the Beaver Achiever course, we have really gotten to those if and else conditionals. And we'll see here that we have a bear that likes strawberries and honey, a bunny that likes carrots, and a moose that likes strawberries. So if the bunny comes up, or the rabbit, we will add a carrot. If else, we'll add a strawberry. But if the bear comes up, then we'll also add honey. So we don't know, we just know 3 people are coming. We don't know the combination of when they're arriving. So we see the bear comes first, and we'll see the code is running over here. We can see it highlighted in the section of which we can see the code running as he's making the smoothie. And it will continuously do so until all of the people have gone through and gotten their smoothies. And we'll be yielded with the solution the same way as we have with all of the others. And by the time the students have gotten to this point, it has been scaffolded, so they will know how to utilize these tools. Obviously, the lesson plans will also help guide in that purpose as well. Okay, so now we looked at the Beaver Achiever course. Now let's talk about our coding adventure. Coding adventure is our course that's for grades 3 through 8. There are 420 challenges broken up into 3 courses. There are 210 story mode challenges and 210 skill mode challenges. There are 48 lesson plans total that are each 45 minutes long, and each course contains 16 lessons. If you were to teach them all together, it would take about 1.5 years to complete if only taught once per week. The programming language that we use is CoffeeScript, and CoffeeScript is just a friendlier version of Python. It has a friendlier syntax for students to use. So you're not going to see the commas and the carets, those kinds of things that the students sometimes struggle with in those younger ages. The coding concepts that will be covered is in Coding Adventure Part 1. They're going to be working with statements, arguments, loops, objects, variables, array, indexing, and for loops. And by the time they've gotten to the end, they're working with operators, knots, comparisons, returning values, and things like that. We will send out this document as well, so you guys kind of have an idea of the concepts that are covered as well. You can always find those in the lesson plans, which we'll refer to. So let's go ahead and let's go into the coding adventure course here. And we'll walk you through some of the familiarities of the course so you can kind of get a little bit more friendly with the courses as well. All right, so with our coding adventure course, it is in our text-based coding. And if you're wondering why it spans such a large age range from 3rd through 8th grade, is we like to think about coding as a language, just like you would take Spanish. If you started learning in kindergarten and if you started learning as an adult, you're still going to learn the same way. So the storyline here for this is that the gorilla steals the monkey's bananas and he spends the rest of the game collecting his bananas back. Gordo here is a teacher assistant. He always pops up for tips, tricks, and directions. These tips will also assimilate for wherever the students are in the lines of code, so kind of eliminating the extra hands being raised and those kinds of things as well. This ruler measures distance, and in the later challenges, it will also measure angles. The monkey also has a wristwatch, and the wristwatch helps with those directionalities, so students know which way is left versus which way is right. And so these buttons along the bottom will type out for students. They are not drag and drop, and any of the objects on the screen that we hover over that has white text will also type out as well. That helps a lot with students that are dyslexic or special needs. It just helps kind of ease things for them as well. There are game sounds. I do have them turned off, and there is also narration in this course. So when we click run here, we'll see we'll be yielded with the solution similar to what we've seen in the other challenges. The 3-star shortest, most concise, 2-star an extra step, and 1-star didn't really understand the concept that was presented. As we move along in the coding adventure course, you move linearly through the concepts just like the other courses, except for here, every story map is a different coding concept, building, and complexity. So we see it started very basic. By the time we get to the end of coding adventure part 1, the students have worked with for loops. And so a for loop, if you think about if you've ever done any block-based course, for loops are like a forever loop. So you'll keep going until everything in the loop has been completed. So we also define a variable for an array. So our array is our collection of bananas. When we turn to that banana, what will happen here, we see the computer is now calculating both the turning to and the distance. And we also have something else here. We also have a collection of crocodiles as well. So we also have to make sure that the computer program understands who's turning. So we also have an object tag associated with a variable. So we can see that the buttons on the bottom have expanded as we go through. We can also see the text is running on the right, and it's being highlighted as the monkey goes through, and also the array and index, the arrays are being called as he moves through the lines of code. In the CodeMonkey course, not only in the coding adventure course, oh, sorry, let me just go back to that. There is the ability for differentiation. So in the story map, at the end of every coding concept, skill mode opens up. And skill mode is a deeper dive into that coding concept. It's good for extra reinforcement or extra practice. And the skill mode only opens up at the end of every story map. Gordo turns less into a teacher assistant and more into a coach. You'll see he's in a tracksuit, the editor turns black, and that will be there for that deeper dive for students. In addition to the coding adventure course, the coding adventure course also has the Dodo Does Math course, and Dodo Does Math is there are 3 courses with, oh, sorry, I'll get back to the lesson mode here in just a second. The Dodo Does Math also has 3 courses in which students are working through math concepts using the same CoffeeScript language. There are angles, distance, there are angles, distance, and multiplication. And so this is really good. I know in Texas, where I teach, I taught 5th grade here, and the students were tested on angle measurement and kind of how to use it. And so I really utilized this tool in my classroom when I was working with them. So just an extra perk to kind of work with those math concepts. I'm gonna backtrack here in just a second. The CodeMonkey Coding Adventure courses does have a lesson mode in it. And so when you assign the lesson mode, the students will be basically locked out until you're ready to begin the lesson and assign the challenges. Everything that you need is here: the lesson plan, the reference cards, the specific challenges that match with each lesson. In addition to that, we also have the challenge builder, and the challenge builder is located down in our creativity section. It is completely blank. It is an extra place for differentiated assessment, or just kind of having that assessment tool. It's one thing for the students to move through the challenges. It's another thing for them to build and create. They can also share to the classroom, or we have a discover feature where they can share worldwide. This is also a great tool to showcase to parents what students are kind of working on. So they will build and create from scratch their own challenges. All right, so we're moving right along to Game Builder. And we're gonna get into what Game Builder looks like here as well. So Game Builder is geared more towards the older grades, 5 through 8. It is really text heavy, the directions when it's received, so we'll go through that as well. There are 91 exercises, and they are divided into 3 game creation courses. So I'll show you what those are as well. They teach them how to create their own game, and then the goal is for them to then build and create their own on CodeMonkey's Game Builder platform. There are 19 fully detailed 45-minute lesson plans, and takes around a semester to complete. We do recommend that the students have finished part 1 of Coding Adventure, so they at least get to the end of 4 loops, but it is highly recommended that they at least finish the entire Coding Adventure course to really prepare them for the Game Builder course itself. Game design course, as we call it here. The concepts that are covered are event-driven programming, sprite animation, and game design. So there is a platformer course, and the platformer course is a Super Mario themed game in which they will build and create, very similar to Super Mario. There's also the sprite animation course where they're designing and animating sprites. And then there is a Frogger course, similar to what we learned as kiddos, or that we played as kiddos, and then the Game Builder platform. So let's go into one of the Game Builder courses and kind of take a look at what that looks like. So when I go into the courses itself, Chris, I'll answer your question here at the end. It's a really great question, and I think a lot of people would benefit from that answer. So here's the platformer course. The students start off, you'll see it's very text heavy. There's a lot of reading that's involved here. Instead of getting the star scoring, students will work through receiving check marks, and it will report to you as a star on your progress page. These buttons, or these text blocks down here, will type out for students, similar to what they do in Coding Adventure. There are built-in reference cards as well. So if the students forget a concept that they learned, this is also accessible in the Game Builder platform itself as well. So here we have the monkey, and we want something to happen. So we read the directions, and we see that we need him to step 1. So we will step 1, and basically I can push any key on the keyboard, and the monkey will go to the event-driven programming is happening, and the monkey is being able to go to the banana. So when we go to challenge 35, we'll see that a lot of things have happened here. The students have interacted with how to program a game timer. When they interact with the chocolate, the points actually go down because the monkey, it's bad for the monkey to eat chocolate, and certain things are happening when the monkey is interacting with the tiger. They're colliding, and there's a lot of components and things that the students have worked through to be able to build and replicate their own games here. It's always great for the gamification piece, and the Game Builder is a, let's go to the Game Builder platform itself. That's also down below in the creations section. So when we go down to the creations and the creativity section, excuse me, and we pull up the Game Builder platform, there are built-in templates. I always suggest that the students start from scratch, especially when replicating a course. Same buttons are here. There's also the reference cards for reminders, the sprites and widgets. So they're starting from scratch, and here they can share with a classroom or share with the Discover feature, so other people can build and so that other people can play their games as well. Okay, so now that we have went through the Game Builder course, the CodeMonkey Jr block course, Beaver Achiever, Coding Adventure, Dodo Does Math, the Challenge Builder, and the Game Builder platform, let's talk about Banana Tails. Banana Tails is one of our newer courses here, in addition to the Beaver Achiever and CodeMonkey Jr courses. Banana Tails is a Python-based, it is a Python course. It is designed for grades 5 through 8, the upper echelon of the elementary intermediate level there. There are 150 plus challenges that are divided into 2 courses. It is in that same gamified way as Coding Adventure. The programming language is Python, and some of the things that some of the concepts that the students will work with are sequencing, lists, index, for loops, variables, all the way down to bubble sorts, dictionaries, and things like that. So they are working through those advanced coding concepts. The storyline in this is that the baby monkey has a twin and they get separated. The monkey cannot feed himself. So the goal, instead of the monkey going to the banana is heading to the monkey this time. So it works through in the same gamified way as the rest of our courses. So if we start here at the very beginning, we'll see that we start right away with the interface just looks a little bit different. So here we can see the coordinate grid here. We can see where 0, 0 is. So really great for students understanding the computer science graph works different than the rest of them. If we were to just hit run right now, the giraffe's head stretches. Let's see if I rewind this code. I just click on the car doesn't make it to the baby and the baby gets upset. So the goal is to get the car to the baby to feed him. There are hints built in here. You'll see there's a console, there's the hints, there's this level, things that are happening behind. We can see exactly where the giraffe is located, and then where our solution is. So we can see that the giraffe, as we did it before, the giraffe's head stretches, we click on the car and the car gets to the baby monkey, and now he's excited and happy. And we are yielded with that solution that we've seen in all the rest of our courses. And then it will get more advanced as it goes along, and the students will build more so in complexity. So here we start seeing some different components. Here we're setting the height for all the giraffes and setting the length for the snakes. And the students are working through this. We'll see that the giraffes' heads are shrinking, and then the snakes stretch so that we can get the banana to the monkey. And then there are 2 more courses that I would like to mention. We also have our coding chatbot course, and that is a Python course, and that is designed to be completed after students have finished the Banana Tails course. This is similar in the same way that the Game Builder kind of course is set up, in that the text is on the left-hand side, we're coding in the middle, and then on the right-hand side is where kind of like the stage is happening, so where everything is interacting. Here, students build a chatbot that's interactive. It's basically playing a game of snowman, which formerly known as hangman, to kind of work through and build and create that. So it does go pretty advanced. We can see by time students get to, I am on the teacher side of things, but by time students get to exercise 74, there's a lot of components that they have worked through and coded to get to this point. And then we have one more course, and that is our Moonlander course. And the Moonlander course is a STEM-based course in which students are working with acceleration and gravity and thrust to basically get the Moonlander onto its landing pad. So this is a STEM-based course. So just kind of keeping that in mind as well. So we have finished our tour of courses. So let's go ahead and talk about the teacher resources. So to get to the teacher resources, we were on the My Classrooms. We need to go back to the My Classrooms page, or we're back on our dashboard away from the courses. We click on the teacher resources. Here we have our Teaching with Coding Adventure, and this is a teacher certification course for Coding Adventure. It does go through all of the coding concepts in Coding Adventure. It's actually me. So you'll be learning from me about what those different concepts are that are in Coding Adventure. And so if you're not super familiar with coding, this is a great way for you to learn and kind of understand a little bit more about what those concepts are. What does say mean? What is a variable? How do you kind of define the variables and kind of work through that in the coding aspect rather than just the math side of it. You can visit our new features, and then all of our lesson plans are listed here for you as well. We also have some how-to guides here, the beginner's guide, how to get started with CodeMonkey, how to create classrooms. There's really short tutorials. If you're ever stuck, I suggest going here or to the Help Center. We also have Hour of Code notes for all of our courses, as well as classroom resources like certificates. We have some posters, and then our media kit if you're looking to have our cute, fun characters. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at a lesson plan, and then I'll get into how we can kind of track student progress. I will answer this question here. Where would you expect to put Moonlander between Banana Tails and Coding Chatbot, or after? I would suggest doing it after. Because it is more of a physics-based course, I would just push it to after they have finished the Banana Tails course. And I'm sure Jay can provide some feedback on that as well, but that is where I would suggest putting it. So how all of our lesson plans are set up they are all set up in the same way. They are all set up with the summary and the objectives, and then we have the components of what concepts are the students going to be learning. We also are addressed to the CSTA standards. We do have ISTE's alignment as well as the state standards. So if you're looking for that and you want that, just reach out to us and we'll send you that document. Everything is set up as an intro, a playtime, and a debrief. And we know that with online learning, it can kind of change a little bit. So our intro is always an unplugged activity. I do challenge you that you can still do the unplugged activities, even though you're in a remote learning setting. You can really do that even though you're plugged in on Zoom. You can still go ahead and do those unplugged activities with your students, like placing an object and kind of describing how to kind of code, how you would get there with a step-by-step algorithm and things like that. And then the playtime is that where the students are actually working through it. And then the debrief sometimes is playing a challenge. Sometimes it's looking at something. Sometimes it's talking about a concept that they learned. So all things that you can do within your remote learning classroom as well. So there are some ways to adjust. And if you have any questions about that, you can feel free to reach out to us and we can help guide you in that way. After doing the lesson plans and we talked about the classroom resources, the My Creations is where all of your challenges and games that you've created will live. And then in the Discover platform is where those are been published. And I will just mention that when students publish to the Discover platform, it is available worldwide. We do have really strong community guidelines, meaning we're making sure that all of the challenges that are published are COPA compliant. They have everything. There's no inappropriate language. There's no extra student data being shared. And then they are shared here where you can play them worldwide. So now that we have explored the teacher resources and we looked at some lesson plans, I want to talk about the student progress page because this is a very important part of the teacher resources and things like that. To me, I think it is a teacher's best friend. Let's actually go to one of my other classrooms that has a little bit more data in it. So once you have your classrooms created and the students have been populated, you'll have the ability to do a couple of things. You can limit students' progress. That means that you can choose how far you want them to go. You can give them free play, or in Coding Adventure, you can limit based on the last lesson that you taught. So if I go ahead and I limit them to, let's just say challenge 15, that means that my students will not be able to access any of the challenges beyond that. You can see that they're all grayed out and they don't have that ability. You can also turn on super hints. So when you're going through the Coding Adventure course, as students are working, when they have, let's say, failed a challenge too many times, Gorda will pop up with a light bulb and it'll be a super hint to kind of help them. I had this question earlier, would you or would you not use the super hints? I think if I were in a classroom setting, I wouldn't necessarily use the super hints. I think I would encourage my students to collaborate with one another, but in a remote learning experience, I do think the super hints are very helpful. You can also export always all the data to a CSV file. Now let's talk about some of the other benefits that are here. So you can sort by progress. And so when you sort by progress, you can kind of do those data trends where you can look and see like, oh, I'm seeing a ton of blue stars in this section. What does it mean? I can click on any of the stars. They all contain student solutions. So I can click on it, see how many times they attempted a challenge. And when I click on it, it will show me in real time exactly how the student solved the challenge. And so as you can see, it pulls up anonymously. So really great for sharing even a remote learning experience. And in this specific challenge, the students were to get onto the monkey's back and ride the, or not to the monkey, to the turtle's back and have the turtle move them here, and they were to step back. We can see that the students started using an index before they were actually ready to use an index. And that's just something you would know from doing the challenges as we kind of go through. Now, what's the benefit for you as a teacher on this page? Well, it has all of the solutions for you as well. So every single number along the top contains the solution for every single challenge within all of our courses. So if you're ever stuck, you're not having to hunt or kind of figure out what that is. I did see a question here about the skill mode. When you limit, does it also limit the skill mode? It does, because at the end of every coding concept is only when the skill mode map opens up. It will not open up before that. It assumes that the students have already done some practice in that coding concept, and it won't actually open up. So if I have it limited to challenge number 5, skill mode will actually never open up until they've reached the end of challenge number 10 in the very first section of the coding map. So such a great question. And then one other thing that I like to mention besides the lesson mode that's available for Coding Adventure is the gradebook. So in the gradebook, here you will see grading for all of our courses, but what I love most about this is that you can, average it. You can also export it as a CSV, but you can also see the larger the circle, the more students that have struggled with a specific challenge. So this is very helpful when teaching whole group or remote, so you can do a mini lesson just based on the challenges that the students found most difficult. Okay, so now I'm going to take a minute and just stop and see some of the questions. So Chris had a question, and I know you guys can all see this, but I'll still answer this question anyway. If students have used Code.org before, where should they start off with? So they're not repeating a lot of information. So I know that Jay answered this, but block-based coding can sometimes be a little bit tricky for students to make the transition from block-based to text-based. So we do recommend them starting and just kind of practicing and reinforcing those skills that they learned, starting, let's say they're starting with Coding Adventure because they're in 3rd grade. I would recommend them starting from the beginning to have extra practice. There's no harm in them having that excitement and the ability to know that they're thriving still in that setting. And then we already answered this question, where would you expect to put Moonlander? I know that Jay answered this question about Moonlander. And then, thanks Jay for correcting me about CoffeeScript. So CoffeeScript, I like to just say is a shorter version of both JavaScript and Python. It has syntax that is similar to Python. So just kind of keeping that in mind. I know that a lot of teachers have been asking about us not getting back to you very quickly. Just wanting to let you guys know that we do have hundreds of teachers, as with you, we're being also affected by this COVID-19 thing. So if we haven't gotten back to you, we are working very, very hard. Our team is working very hard to get back to you as soon as we can to set you up. If you're not sure about how to get set up, you can email us or email the person that gave you the phone call. And then the next part I would like to say is that we do have some upcoming webinars coming up. So we have a webinar tomorrow with the Beaver Achiever with myself. I'll be doing a student-facing webinar. So invite your students, have them come while I teach a lesson and you take a back seat. And then on Thursday, Jay, who's on our webinar today, will be teaching a lesson with Game Builder. If you're not sure where to find that, you can find that here at codemonkey.com/COVID-19. You can also find the previous webinars that we've done. So everything will be listed and living here on this page for you as well. So we did a tour of courses. We talked about all the courses from K through 8. We did a couple of challenges from each of the course. We looked at the teacher resources, what it meant to do progress and limiting progress. And so now we're leaving it open for you to do some Q&A. So if you have any questions. So Monica, that's a good question. Where do I access the teacher lesson plan? So I'll go through and do that with you. So here I am in the main CodeMonkey teacher dashboard page. When I go over to the left-hand side, I can see the teacher resources over here. So I click on the teacher resources. When I click on the teacher resources, I can find the lesson plans for each of the courses accessible here. And if you're looking for an hour of code, like Moonlander is an hour of code course, there are lesson plans here, but there are also guides for our courses as well. Also a next really good question, when I activated my COVID account yesterday, I saw that it was only valid for a month until April 30th. Can you start using CodeMonkey with your kids and assure that the expiration date will be extended if our school stays longer? Obviously, we're just waiting to kind of see, just like you, what happens. So we'll kind of be working with case-by-case basis in a lot of schools and settings like that. We're not trying to shut you off or anything like that. We will be working with teachers. We know that everyone's dates are just crazy and all over the place. So we can't give a unified answer right now, but we will let you know on any of those changes that occur as we've been discussing on our, with you in our calls. So great question. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. So if you do have any, think of some later after you're kind of working through, you can email us at info@codemonkey.com, or you can follow us and reach out to us also on our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook at CodeMonkeySTU. Mary, that's a really great question. I would suggest emailing whoever gave you the phone call regarding the COVID. They'll be able to help you with getting a quote for your school. So of course, that's what we're here for. So we just want to thank you so much for your time and the work that you're doing for students. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate you spending your afternoon with us. So thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you so much to you. Remember to write code, catch bananas, and save the world. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.